Hello, everyone, and welcome into crushthestreet.com. I'm on the line today with Rana Vig, CEO and founder of Blue Lagoon Resources, returning guest here on the show with me today. Its company trades under ticker symbol BLLG on the CSE and BLAGF on the US side. And we're going to be discussing gold, the volatility in the markets, the uncertainty in the world. And, last time we talked about the Hollywood script that we're seeing here in 2020. And we're doing this interview here in November following Election Day in the US here. We sort of have an elected president. I know there's a lot of controversy surrounding that. The markets are going crazy. There's a vaccine that's been announced that's sending stocks through the roof. We're living in just such unprecedented times right now. So it's a good time to catch up with Rana. Rana, thanks for coming on Crush the Street with me today.
Thank you. Thanks for having me. It's a pleasure to be back.
I'd like to start there. I mean, look at what we're seeing right now. Just the dysfunction in our political system. So many people are divided here in the U.S. I'm here in the U.S., so I see what's going on around me, but I know the rest of the world is watching this show, this mess of a show, if you will. And it's just got to be, extremely embarrassing. I try not to, put too much meaning in that as an American, but it is what it is. It's just such a mess that we have right now. And I just feel like it's a sign of the times. And, one of the reasons we should be considering gold in our portfolios today.
Well, it's interesting. You said that, it's very, very easy to get jaded, right? If you're just watching, Fox News or CBS or NBC, right? It's really interesting. I like to watch the outside, news from the rest of the world and to see what their perspective is. And you're right. It is embarrassing. America is the beacon of hope, man, right? It was always that steady, hand that the leader. And it's very unfortunate. It doesn't matter if you're a Democrat or a Republican. I just think that, this is no way to conduct, oneself as a leader, right? And it's very, very unfortunate. But hey, you know what? At the end of the day, we can have all these academic discussions and this and that. But let's face it, you and I aren't going to be able to make a hell of a difference, a lot of a difference. So my philosophy is, all I can do is voice my opinion, get out there and vote the way I think that I should. After that, you know what? I better take care of myself and my family. That's all I can do.
There's an overarching trend, right, that you're talking about that is beyond the hands of you or I, but also beyond the hands of even a 4-year elected leader. So much is going on and just so much is, obviously they have certain impacts on things, but there's a certain trajectory the world is going in terms of money printing and debt and chaos. And I just wonder if a lot of that is we're seeing the result of that in the elections, in the division of the people and what is going on in society.
Yeah, absolutely. Look, the average person, right, doesn't really understand, right, what's happening and how we got here, right? And all they know is listened by the government. Everybody wants all these things, but what unfortunately they don't understand is, where's all the money going to come from, right? And governments for years, right, they continue to lie to us, and unfortunately they only have one agenda. It doesn't matter which party you belong to, right? The leaders today are spineless and they only have one agenda, which is to get reelected. So, they continue to make things matters worse because all they seem to know, especially after the 2008, 2009, crisis, all they seem to know is how to print more money, put it out into the market, keep giving everybody, some sort of hope that it keeps going on and kicks the can down the road, but it doesn't solve the underlying problem. Now, the good news for folks like us, I guess, is that it's a great environment for gold, right? Because that's what gold likes, right? It has value. People don't understand that. People say, well, why would gold go up? Hey, gold, the supply of gold only increases in the world by 1.5% a year. That's it, right? So there's a finite amount of the thing, right? Whereas look at the dollars. I mean, I think it's double digits, right? They wake up every morning and they're like, man, how much more can you print today, right? Because it's going to get our audience excited. So, these are unprecedented times. And like I said earlier, right, all I think we can do is really hone in and figure out, how do we protect ourselves, right? How do we preserve our wealth, and how do we get in the game so we can make something?
Yeah. Yeah, someone put it this way: they printed what, $3 trillion in a matter of what, seconds, weeks, months, whatever you want to call it. But then over the course of thousands of years, gold's $10 trillion value. I mean, it's taken that long to mine it, and all that work and effort, and people forget the value and the importance of gold. But then they are numb to what's going on with the dollar, how it's just getting printed into oblivion. And my concern and my question to you is, are people going to wake up to gold? Or it just seems like whatever narrative the media wants people to believe, whether it's conservative, whether it's liberal, whether it's there, people are in their echo chambers and their feedback loops. And I just don't see truth surfacing the way we're talking about it right now.
Yeah, you're absolutely right. I mean, that's where the challenge becomes, especially in today's information world, right? What do you believe, right? And Trump has only put up a brighter spotlight on that, right? And he's come up with this term "fake news" a few years ago, which is now part of our vocabulary. But even before he came up with that, I mean, you have to be really careful. What are you reading? What are you listening to? What are you watching? And that's not to say that that everyone, it's all false, but you do have to look at the information that you're getting. For me, it's very simple, right? Who do I follow? This is a mantra I've used all my life. Look, I learned a very long time ago, I'm not that smart, man. All right. So the only way I equalize is I work extra hard. I'm up early, I sleep late, I work hard, and that's the way I equalize that. And then the second way I do that is I surround myself with the best and the brightest of that industry. So when I'm looking at gold, when I'm looking at investments, I look at to see what proven thought leaders are saying. They have a lot more access to information that I do. And, I follow that. I mean, if Warren Buffett just recently jumped into gold, okay, here's arguably the most successful financial guru of all time, I think that I should pay attention to that.
Rana, when it comes to what we're seeing in the markets seem to just want to go up. Right now, today the stock market was up 1,500 points, huge, on vaccine news. And, again, we're talking about the economy just being shut down for months, and, businesses just not having the same fundamentals they did. And a lot of it based on money printing that we were just talking about. But there's this bias for just stocks to go up endlessly. Again, wanting truth to surface, wanting to see gold go higher, because I believe that should happen sooner rather than later. I mean, again, can you speak to what is going on in this scenario where capital just keeps going into the stock market?
Well, that's the other challenge, right? With the average person, they look at that, right? And they look at all these gyrations, and they're not sure what to do. You really have to block the noise, right? I mean, all this up and down. Look, you're right. I mean, today it went up like 1,500. I think at one point it was crazy. It was ready to make it already made a new record. I think it was going to break through 30,000. I mean, it's just unprecedented. And gold drops, a bunch of people get all nervous. Well, I called immediately my guys and said, hey, we need to buy some gold today. You have to look at these things in perspective, right? Are you an investor or are you a trader, right? And there's a big difference, right? These market gyrations, it's up and down. First of all, a lot of it is driven by technology companies, right? Technology is here to stay, right? It doesn't matter whether we like Facebook, we don't like Twitter, we like whatever, it doesn't matter, right? There's new technology is going to keep coming. So even if one shrinks, something else will come. And that often drives, these markets. And remember, the indexes are weighted, right, by a handful of the top companies, right? So when it comes down to the bottom line, to the average investor, all they know is that their dollar isn't going further. So it isn't even that gold is going up. It's that the dollar is getting weaker and weaker. That's another, sort of concept that people have a hard time, getting their heads wrapped around. And they keep thinking, well, wait a minute, it's already like 1850, 1900, 2000. Isn't that too expensive? No, it's not about being too expensive, right? It's about the more you devalue the currency, right? The more, I remember a number of years ago when I was traveling around the world, and I was fascinated by McDonald's, right? You go in and you buy a burger, and it tastes the same, man. You can be in the UK or you can be in Japan. I was like, wow, isn't that amazing? But you know what I noticed? The cost was different. It's almost 50% higher to buy a burger, a Big Mac in the United States than it is to buy it in a country like Japan. Well, how come? Right? And I trust me, it's not because of the logistics and different things are going on. It's because the weakness of the currency, right? So ultimately, that's what people have to understand, right? That the more and especially today around the world, what's happening, every government is in trouble. They've got to print more and more because they got to somehow keep the airlines going. They got to keep the restaurant industry alive. I mean, look at all the different industries that are going on that impact the average person. They got to get them back working, because if they're not working, the politicians feel too much heat, and that's something that they just don't want to do. So that's the only thing they seem to know now is just, it's called, I think it's going to be called QE forever. They just, and another point I think that's interesting, Kenneth, and I'm not sure if you agree, but the recessions are part of a normal cycle, right? Everything is cyclical, and you're supposed to let it collapse every once in a while. You need that recession, because if a business is not does not have a fundamental viability, it should go out of business. I mean, that's the natural sort of law. You can't keep propping it up. And when that happens, there's a reset, right? There's a reset, and everything starts all over again. But the politicians don't want to see that. So what do? They keep printing money, and they keep propping it up artificially. This is not going to end well.
Yeah. Yeah, they continue to incentivize bad behavior by not allowing recessions to take place and to flush out bad businesses and bad behavior. Yeah, interesting points, Rana. Let's talk a little bit about that point you made about gold moving down here and your decision to buy some gold. Speak to that a little bit. What are you seeing right now in terms of the mining industry and, a buying opportunity for gold? I know a lot of people we're waiting for the elections to shake out before things are to see where the chips are and, to start buying stocks to kind of get back to some level of normalcy. So having said that, here we are at the end of 2020. What are your thoughts here where we are in the resource sector?
I have never been more excited. I'll tell you, I got involved in this sector about 10 years ago, and it was a rough ride, right? All those years, because mining was not in favor and gold was hovering around $1,200, $1,300. And, most companies, their cost of production is around $1,000. So it wasn't super profitable. But my goodness, right now, the time that we're in, this is unprecedented, because generational wealth is built around times like this. And I'm very excited, not about just gold, but mining exploration companies, because typically what happens, if you look at it historically, for every small movement that gold has, the mining sector, the exploration companies in particular, move up multiples of that, right? So the opportunity to, yes, like today I'm buying some gold, right? So, because it dropped, right? But at 1850, okay, I'll buy a few ounces, and it'll, it goes to 1950, so I make $100. That's not an investment. That's an asset, right? There's a difference. But I'm looking at all sorts of companies like ours, right? Blue Lagoon Resources. We have a tremendous amount of upside. That's why I wrote a $300,000 check personally into the company. Why? Because I believe we have a long ways to go. The beauty of great exploration companies, companies that have good assets and good managements, right? People who've been there, done it in whichever industry, right? They're the old saying, bet on the jockey, not the horse, right? They have the ability to execute on a plan. The beauty of exploration companies in the gold space today is whether they're doing anything or not, as long as they have good assets and good management, whether they're doing anything or not, their value increases right, as the price of gold increases, right? So imagine what our market cap is today at this level of the gold price, and look at where it's going to, if you believe gold's going to go higher, and many very, very respectable organizations are projecting that it'll be $2,500 to $3,000 next year. So by doing nothing, the value of the company is going to grow. Now add to that a guy who can execute, a team that can actually execute, right? That's why these companies explode. Like they just skyrocket and go up when gold moves. So I'm super excited and very bullish on it's a very exciting time to live from that perspective.
Well, give us an update on Blue Lagoon Resources. We spoke to you not too long ago, and obviously an exciting time to be in the resource sector. I'm a shareholder in Blue Lagoon Resources, and it's like I said, it's a very exciting time. Give us an update for our listeners here on what is going on with the company.
Sure. We've been so busy. It's been amazing, and we're just getting started. 2021 is going to be an even busier year. Yeah, look, we raised $7.5 million just a few weeks ago, and we have no debt, so we're fully cashed up, and I'm now executing on our plan. Since we spoke last, we've had more activity there than probably in a dozen years. We have people working underground in the tunnel. Remember, we have a permit. Right, we're in a bit of a unique situation where we actually have a mining permit, we have an environmental permit. We just have three things that the previous owners couldn't do, and not because they were incompetent. They just got too old, right? They're 83 years old now, and they just ran out of time. So I came along, and I'm the lucky one. So we're executing on that plan right now. We started. It's about a 6-month program, 5-6-month program to get those amendments done. We're well on our way. We're about 6-7 weeks into that. So we're working towards that so that we can be it's my hope that we'll be in a production decision sometime mid next year. So that's going on, and we just finished nearly a 4,000 meter drill program. And oh my goodness, if you've been following the news releases, the results have been spectacular. Just this is a truly high grade property. We flew the whole property. We have almost 12,000 hectares, and a tiny little portion, less than 10% of it, is what these previous owners focused in on because they wanted to just try to get this thing into production. Well, we're doing that, but at the same time, we flew the whole property to see, what is Mother Nature got hidden there underneath for us. All our technical team is very excited. We've news released that. We've identified like 5 new targets. So that's what we're gonna focus on now. Coming up, starting January, we're gonna be drilling and we're gonna be improving the property. Going to have a very, very busy and an exciting year coming up in 2021. So lots going on.
Rana, so remind people, for those who may have not have listened to our last interview, tell people about the acquisition of the Dome Mountain project and, really what its significance is and, what you're talking about right now. Give people the backstory on that. I think it's just worth going over once again and to fully appreciate what the company is doing.
Yeah, it kind of fell in my lap, and I'd rather be, they say, I'd rather be lucky than good, right? I mean, I think it's just a matter of being at the right place at the right time, and I was very fortunate. This project came to me about 6 months ago, and I kind of dismissed it in the beginning, right? Because I thought, oh, here we go, here's another one of these projects that claim they have permits and all this in place and all this, but as I started looking at it a little more, because they were very persistent, good on them. The fact that they had spent, $68 million in spent on this property over the years, and 28 million me, and then the fact that the wonderful family, but like I said, they were 83 years old now. Thought it was whatever what it was being claimed, then there's going to be a very good deal for me to be a very good deal to be had here. And as an entrepreneur, that's very important to me, right? You've got to make the right deal. So I think we made the deal of the century. We bought this project for 13.5 million shares, and at a price when our stock was at an all-time high. And all of those shares are escrowed over 3 years, so our structure stays intact. I mean, I just think that we really have an incredible project for our shareholders. And that's what we're going to laser beamed focus on developing that. And I think we're just in the first inning. We have a long ways to go.
Yeah. I mean, we can talk about where we are in the gold cycle, but then there's also within that sector where we are with the resource companies and specific resource companies. And, it can be argued that we're in the fifth or sixth inning when it comes to gold, but I mean, the first inning when it comes to a company like Blue Lagoon Resources, which is really where the excitement is. Once you have your physical precious metals, once you've made those, more solidified, safe assets, when you want that additional upside exposure, you got to start looking at the miners. So, with that being said,
And I
Rana, can
like
you
the
just share some closing
uh,
thoughts here on the company and just anything you want to close on about the company and maybe respond to what I said?
yeah, look, I think that, again, to what we talked about earlier, these are really unprecedented times, right? This is not the time to be a spectator. If you want to invest, if you've been sitting on the sidelines for the longest time and thinking, when do I get into this, right? This is the time. They say trend is your friend, right? And right now, there's a tremendous super cycle in the precious metals coming, and I think everyone should own, a certain amount of physical product, physical gold or silver. But I think that they should definitely look at a good mining exploration companies like ours, and we're not the only ones. There's other great companies out there, but I think that if you look at the uniqueness of our company, I believe is that not only do we have a permitted mine, it takes like 20 years, Kenneth, from the day one to get the mine into production. 20 years and millions of dollars. Well, my predecessors have already done that. They've already spent that money. They've already spent that time, right? So we have that uniqueness there. Plus, we have this huge property with 15 high-grade veins already known. We don't have to go find those ones, that we already know where they are. And it's just a matter of now we're fully cashed up. We have no debt. It's a matter of just on executing on that plan. And I believe that we've got the right team to get it executed. So I'd highly encourage your viewers to go check it out and email me if they have any questions. Just go to our website, bluelagoonresources.com, and drop me an email, and I'm happy to answer any questions and just keep it on the radar. And there's no second chances, in my opinion, right? This is the time to get in. So if anyone's ever thought about investing in the precious metals market, there's no better time than now.
Well, we really appreciate your transparency and your proximity to shareholders. You've been a very active CEO, so that's very appreciated. Everyone, Rana Vig of Blue Lagoon Resources. Rana, thanks for coming on Crush the Street with me today.
Thanks for having me. Appreciate it.